Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Ritu. Just in case you're new here, welcome, and if you're an old subscriber, welcome back. So a few weeks ago I did a video about telling you all the things that I thought would kind of put people off from moving to Denmark, and I did say in some part of the video that I was gonna make a video to tell you guys the other good things about moving to Denmark, because I really believe that if you're gonna make a decision as big as moving to relocating to a whole new country, and for a place where it's so expensive to move to, I think that you should have all the information that you can have, both good and bad, so that you can make an informed decision. So today's video is going to be me telling you all the good things about living in Denmark, and I'm going to be as honest as possible. Denmark is one of the safest places for you to move. The crime rate is really low. Of course, everywhere there are parts of the cities or parts of the countries where safety compared to relative to other places in the city might be lower than other places. And I've heard of certain areas in Copenhagen where they say, well, it's quite unsafe, and that is expected anywhere in the world. But in general, when you're thinking about it in a grand scheme of things, compared to so many places in the world, Denmark is one of the safest places to move to in terms of crime, in terms of like just everything. Gun laws are really, really strict here. I've lived in Nigeria and I've lived in Hungary, and I've traveled to a few European cities, and honestly, this is one of the places that I felt the most safe. The healthcare system, I think that's one of the first things that people talk about when you talk about living in Denmark, when you talk about living in Scandinavia in general. The universal healthcare system. People say free healthcare, but it's technically not free, but it's kind of free in a way, because we pay such a high amount of tax on everything, really, from your salary. When you buy something, there's a large amount of VAT. You pay about 25% VAT and all that, but it all goes back into the system for infrastructure, for healthcare, for education. So that's where that's what's funding the fact that it feels like it's free healthcare. And when you think about it honestly, it's kind of free. My experience having a baby in Denmark is what sold me completely. From my pregnancy to having the baby was one of the most pleasant experiences I've ever had. From having the midwives to the day that I had the baby to after the birth, we haven't paid a dime. And also the system that is put in place to take care of you as a pregnant woman is amazing. And compared to what I'm used to, it's totally amazing. So yeah, the healthcare is one of my big reasons that I think that moving to Denmark would be a great place to raise your family, to start a life, to be honest, because you're not spending thousands on healthcare, you're not spending thousands on emergencies or all that. The only thing that I know that we've had to pay for is dental care, which is basically everywhere. You have to pay a certain, but in Denmark, there are actually some special insurance policies that you can take out that actually takes your dental bill very, very low. When it comes to maternity leave in Denmark, you have as long as you are actually part in the system and all that, and you have a baby and you are a working parent, you get a maternity and paternity leave. So for example, when I was pregnant, I had to take a maternity leave 1 month before my due date, and you do get paid during your maternity leave. For the first 25 weeks, you are getting paid by your employer directly, and then the rest of the leave payments comes from the commune, so kind of like the government, or should I say the department that is in charge of all that. You do get 52 weeks maternity leave, and you can share it between you and your husband. So it means that you don't have to take the whole maternity leave. You can decide to go back to work, and your husband can take part of your maternity leave. But there's also a paternity leave that is dedicated to the father too, if the father wanted to take paternity leave. My husband took 2 weeks compulsory, just from the day that Asha was born, he had to take 2 weeks paid leave, and he also has more paid leaves if he wanted to take more within that period of Asha's first year of life. So it is very, very convenient to kind of have at least one parent at home taking care of the child, and also to have the resources that you need. I have to point out though that the maternity leave especially is dependent, or what you get from the community depends on how much you have been earning before you went on maternity leave, depends on how long you have been working before your maternity leave. So there is an amount of hours that you have to have worked before your baby came for you to actually qualify for maternity leave, which makes sense. Education for my child, for example, if you are a parent that, or somebody that wants to be a parent, or even a parent moving here with your family, you're gonna be working and you're gonna be paying tax. Education for your kids is extremely subsidized by the government, of course, because you're paying all the high tax. The education for your kids is extremely subsidized. For example, in the UK, I was talking to my friend and she was like, and I was just seeing how they were paying anywhere between 900 pounds to like 2,000, or should I say 2,000 pounds, depending on where or what school or private or wherever that you want to take your child to for kindergarten. Don't even get me started on nannies and all those things. And I was just shocked. I was shocked. I was like, with all that tax, you're paying all that? No, I couldn't do it. But yeah, in Denmark, it's extremely subsidized. So for our baby, when he starts kindergarten at 10 months, we're gonna be paying somewhere around 470 pounds to 480 pounds per month for the whole month, and that includes his lunch. And yeah, so that includes lunch for him at school. If we didn't want the school to give him lunch, and I wanted to prepare lunch for him to go to school, then it will actually be even cheaper. It will go down to like 350, or I think about 400, somewhere around that. That price is actually for children between 0 to 3, and anywhere from 3 and above it gets cheaper, and there are more subsidies available for the child's education. So that's one thing also, that I think that if you are someone who is thinking of raising a family or having kids, this is the place to be honest. From pregnancy, the care that the woman gets and you get from pregnancy up until the child is born, and the care that you have and the help and resources that are available for you to make raising a family or having a family easier, it's great in Denmark. Language. Now this one is a bit dicey. I haven't been to other cities in Denmark yet. We live in Copenhagen, which is the capital city of Denmark, and it's quite international. It's quite the melting pot, if I can put it like that. So there's loads of international companies here, and there's so many expats working in Copenhagen who don't actually know how to speak Danish, because there's so many places and companies where you really don't need Danish to be able to work there. It's not going to be a hard transition for you at all if you live in Copenhagen, compared to living in Budapest, which is like the capital city of Hungary, and living in Copenhagen. I haven't had a hard time with language as I've had when I was in Budapest, because it's very, very international. Most Danes speak English, really. Most Danes speak English. I haven't met any Dane that does not speak English. And I'm not saying English and you are hardly understanding. No, I mean good English, because they all know how to speak English. When it comes to language, this is one of the places, especially Copenhagen, where you can actually move and not have to worry about the language. I do still want to learn the language because, well, it's important to me. As an expat, you get a free language lesson that is paid for by the commune. All you have to do is make a small deposit of about $250 in the beginning, and so about $250 in the beginning. You make a deposit, and after you're done with the course, I think you get that back. But that's all you have to do. Make that deposit, and you can learn for 2 years plus. Literally, you can keep learning your language and take the exams and everything for 2 years plus. I think that's a great deal. Denmark is one of those places where the labor laws are there for a reason, and they're actually taken very seriously. They're not just there for writing, they're not there for decoration. They take their labor laws very seriously. Employees are protected, employers are protected. It's like officially you're only allowed to work, or ask your employees to work 37 hours a week, and that's the maximum you should allow it. If you have to work more, my boss in my former place told me that there is a paper that you might have to sign to say that I chose to do that. And even at that, when it's past a certain level, they are not allowed to allow you to do that. They have to make sure that you're sticking to those hours so that you're not overworked. Danish people do not believe in like working till you drop dead, because they believe in efficiently working than excessively working. Unions in Denmark, it's not even a conversation. They encourage you to join unions because that's one of the ways that you can be protected if you are being treated unfairly by your employers. It's one of the ways that you can be protected. The job market in Denmark, as compared to, for example, I was coming from Budapest to here, and I compared how many jobs were available here, and it's a lot more. And the job market is so much better than most places. There's so many things to do depending on what you want to do. It just depending on what you are willing to do. They post of thousands of jobs that are actually, they need more people to work in. You can always check that, and you can always see if the part of your career or your profession is on that list, and you can always apply into those jobs. Danes are very, very friendly people. They are very helpful people. Actually, this is one of the most friendliest people that I've ever met, and it was really freaking me out in the beginning. Let me explain. When we moved here in the beginning, like people still do it, like people will be smiling at you, like someone will just pass and smile at you, or strike a conversation standing on the line at the coffee house, or just it was just weird to me, honestly, coming from a place where sometimes people were just rude for no reason. Like you didn't even have to say or do anything. Just you being there, people just wanted to be rude to you. You walk into a store and greet the cashier, and she's angry at you for the way you greet her, and just so rude. I just never experienced that. When I need help, I've just not been afraid to ask for help here. They're always open to help you out if you ask a question. Keep in mind though that you're not going to be besties, but they're very, very open to help. They're very nice, and they're very friendly to people. If you visit here the first day, that's the impression you're gonna get, that they are very helpful, and they're very, very open to, help you out if you need it. So yeah, these are all the things that I wanted to point out that I think are the good part of moving to Denmark. If you want, if you've decided that that's what you want to, that's the direction you want to take, that's great. But I hope that this helps you guys a lot, and just know that this is coming from a very, very honest place. There is nothing sugar coated in this video, and as usual, if you've watched to this point, thank you so much for watching. And if you have any questions, again, comment section and let me know, and I will try to answer them as much as I can. Thank you so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.